As you know, Southeast Denton was where residents of Quakertown were displaced. There are now fears that Southeast Denton is going in the direction of gentrification. What can you do to stop it?
Yeah, I think we need to make sure that we're smart. Like I said, we want to make sure that we're revitalizing Southeast Denton, not gentrifying it, right? So we want to make sure that we're investing in the community that is already here. If that means looking at our zonings, if that means looking at the different places that we need to preserve, the subsidies that we can provide for certain residents that may not be able to keep up with inflation costs to pay just taxes. I think those are all things that are the responsibility of the city. I also think that it's important for us to make sure that we're listening to the people that actually live here, the people that do life here every single day, not just the people that come in and visit, right? And so, yes, that's an active year. I want to make sure that we're talking about growth and economic development, but that we're not going to do that at the expense of the people that already call this place home. And so the best way that I can do that is making sure that we're bringing in, having conversations, having town halls, making sure that we're even going door to door. During the time where just for this election, I've been going door to door and meeting lots of new people. And so they are excited that this is coming. They're excited that people are knocking on their doors. We should continue that momentum going so that we can make sure that we're having the conversations and bringing people together to actually figure out what is important, what's the type of growth that we need to have. I am making sure that my dad, like I said, lives here, my cousins live here. There's a lot of areas right here in the back behind the cemetery that are being used. I want to make sure that we're doing that for the best of the people that actually live here. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Jill? Southeast Denton was where residents of Quakertown were displaced. There's fears with regard to it moving in the direction of gentrification. What can you do to stop it?
Well, so this is something I've been thinking about recently since filing to run, and I've thought about in my business clients that have come to me from this neighborhood, as well as people that just drop by and ask for advice. We have a problem in this neighborhood because a lot of people don't have the legal evidence, they don't have what we call clear title to their home. And so there's no way to sell their home. There's no way to use their home as collateral for a loan. There's no way for them to apply for loans to fix up the home. And they can't leave it to who they want to leave it to. And this is because in the past, these people either didn't have the money or didn't have the means to execute warranty deeds, to sign wills. I'm chair of the Denton County's Bar Association's section for real estate, probate, and trust law. I want to put together title companies. I want to put together volunteers from the Bar Association. I want to have volunteers for those that research genealogy. And I plan to pitch to council that we get together and we get everyone together, whether it's a nonprofit or not, to help clear title and give upward equitable mobility and economic mobility to some of these people in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Erica, the same question. Southeast Denton was where residents of Quakertown were displaced. There are now fears that Southeast Denton is moving in the direction of gentrification. What do you propose to do to stop it?
So I echo what the other candidates said. I think that the key is listening to the residents. Is it the residents that are saying that? Is it other neighborhoods outside of Denton saying it? Where those fears are coming from. Is it, the neighborhoods themselves? Is it the businesses? Making sure that, as the city, we are listening to them, advocating for them, making sure that, we're doing what we can to reinvest in this area and make sure that, if there's buildings that are empty, that, what are we doing to try to facilitate that and keep this area, prosperous and proud and help facilitate that growth.
Thank you. Brandon? One of the biggest concerns the residents have in being displaced as a result of Quakertown, there are now fears that it's going in the direction of gentrification. What do you propose to do to stop that?
Gentrification is something that is happening in many marginalized communities all across the country. Folks raise their kids go away, folks get older, kids don't necessarily come back because they're living their own lives and other folks are able to move into the community. That's how gentrification happens. What we're not going to do is we're not going to do a whole lot of economic development in this community This community does not want that. As someone who has knocked on so many doors in this community, who has sat on couches and at kitchen tables with so many people right in this community, they don't want a lot of economic development. What they do want are single-family homes. They want smaller lots. So one of the things that we can do is that we can examine the code. Our code makes it prohibitive to do things like townhomes. Our code needs to be updated in a lot of different ways. At a very recent meeting, it was brought to our light that our code mandates that single-family homes have to have lawns. Well, what we see in Western states is that oftentimes homes don't have lawns, and you're able to build more house for less money on a smaller lot. There are things that we can do like this to update our code. These are the things that we can do to protect this neighborhood. But what we're not going to do is allow a lot of economic development in this community that is going to raise values for everybody.
Mayor Hudspeth? As you know, Southeast Denton was where residents of Quaker Town were displaced. There are now fears that Southeast Denton is moving in the direction of gentrification. What can you do to stop it?
Okay, thank you. And I think you're doing an outstanding job. Thank you very much. I'll say this. We have a Southeast Denton area plan. I advocate for everyone to kind of follow along with that. I'm super excited about the experts we brought in. You need a council that's not going to rezone areas in this neighborhood. That's how it starts. You got to understand that the land, the dirt is what decides what's on top of it. If dirt's valuable, it guides what's on top of it. So we have to make good decisions. That apartment thing I talked about is bad. You need people on council that have lived in Denton more than 3 years that understand Skinner Street, the history of the neighborhood. Skinner Street used to have houses. Go out here, go to Skinner Street, used to have houses. They're gone because those people bought them up systematically. You can't rezone stuff. It has serious consequences. Drive the neighborhood, see whose signs are out there, see who's representing or who's supported by the neighborhood, and that's going to guide your decision on who's has the neighborhood's best interest in mind. We have to get back to a local focus, understanding the history. We don't have time to learn. We got to go.
Can you stay there for this next round of questions?
Happy to.